Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. And on this video this evening, I'm going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news. But just before I go in all of that, I'd just like to wish you all a happy new year. So just wanted to do that. I think it's more than likely that Manchester United will make signings this month, because obviously now the January transfer window is open, and obviously we are more than aware that we have got to make signings. I think it would be also beneficial if we did get rid of some players this month. This is what Manchester United do need to do in that. I think for my own perception, I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. But I presume, like I said, I think we should make signings in this January transfer window, because I think Solskjaer wants to recommend at least 2 players in January. But don't forget, not too long ago he did say that it isn't assured that we will make many signings in this January transfer window. But there is a lot of players on our current agenda, as you all know. Obviously, we're not going to get Erling Haaland, because as it reported out quite a few days ago, he's officially joined Borussia Dortmund as Erling Haaland for around, is it 17 or 18 million pounds. That was actually his buyout clause, and he signed a 4.5-year deal with Borussia Dortmund until 2024 and that. So that's what is under a contract so. But we actually identified Erling Haaland as our number 1 priority target and that. So it was a shame that we missed out on him, because I think he would have been the right calibre player for Manchester United. Plus, it would have been beneficial to recommend him in, because he's already played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance and that. So now, obviously, of us missing out on Erling Haaland, I think Solskjaer has got an alternative. He's got an alternative in that. There's been reports emerging out in the last couple of days regarding Dominic Calvert-Lewin from Everton, saying we're interested in the current player. He's been in absolute scintillating form for Everton. I think now he's into his 4th season with Everton. I think Everton, do value him at around £50 million. If we were to get Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it probably would happen in the summer, rather than this month. But I'm sceptical that we're going to get him anywhere, according to recent reports. Because according to recent reports, Everton have begun negotiations, over getting him a new contract. I think, they want to get him a new 5-year contract worth around 70 to 75,000 pounds a week. Don't forget, he did sign a 5-year contract in May 2017, and he's under contract with Everton until 2023. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is only at the age of 22, so he's still very, very young. And I think Solskjaer is keen on, recruiting young players into the football club. And Everton paid, was it around just £1.5 million to him from Sheffield United, because he actually began his career with Sheffield United, when he was younger and that. He was in their youth system for a good 9 years, I think. Then obviously he had loan spells with Stalybridge Celtic. He also had a loan spell with Northampton Town. But he's done well with Everton. I think in all competitions for Everton, he has made 110 appearances. I think it's something like that, and he scored around 27 goals, and he scored 3 goals his last 2 games, so he has, flourished, since Carlo Ancelotti took over at Everton. But, I can't see, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, coming in, but, it did say we've actually identified him as a priority signing, for next summer and that. So he's another player on our current agenda. But we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. Like I said, we've got to reinvest in that midfield. We need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera and Marion Fellaini. We've got to get a couple of strikers in. And I think, we also need a right winger. And there's possibly other areas in the squad as well that do need to be addressed in that. There's still a lot of speculation going on regarding Jadon Sancho. Because Man United have been long admirers of Jadon Sancho. Now, I think with Erling Haaland going to Borussia Dortmund, he will be officially a Borussia Dortmund player on the 3rd of January. I think now, in that aspect, Borussia Dortmund will soften their stance on Chancellor, and they are probably determined to let him leave. I think according to recent reports, it did say, Chelsea have actually, emerged as the favourites to sign him. Don't forget, Chelsea did business with Dortmund, was it back in January? But he got loaned back to Dortmund until last summer. Then obviously now he's officially a Chelsea player. Don't forget Liverpool have also been in for Jadon Sancho. We didn't get Jadon Sancho before, reflecting on our failure to qualify for the Champions League. But like I've said on my recent videos, if you're not in Champions League football, then it's going to be harder to attract players to the elite level. Jadon Sancho has had a couple of years with Borussia Dortmund. This is now his current 3rd season at Borussia Dortmund, but I think he's actually now served his 2 requirements with Borussia Dortmund. He's been dropped in quite a few games this season, and I think he just doesn't feel satisfied there. And now, he just doesn't feel satisfied there. Obviously analysing his performances in the couple of years he's been with Dortmund, his evaluation has persistently grown. Teams are aware now that our link for him is probably going to cost in the excess of around £100 million. But Borussia Dortmund only paid around £7 or £8 million from Man City. He did serve a couple of years there with Man City, but the main factor reason why his tenure at Man City didn't work out is because obviously, City, couldn't show him first team opportunities. But Sancho is primarily a right winger, and he can also, play century. So he's another player on our current agenda. He's another player in that. But we know we're in the transition period. Manchester United know that. Solskjaer knows that, and Solskjaer is hopeful, that we can get through this transition period in that. And now, obviously, we're in 2020. Solskjaer says, 2020, will be a good year for Manchester United. So hopefully this year can be totally comparison, to what it was last year. Because analysing the vast majority of last year, Man United and Solskjaer enjoyed a very difficult time prior to that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Because don't forget, he did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Take that into account and that. We're currently, I think now, are we sitting 5th or is it 6th in the league? We are 5 points now behind Chelsea because, they're due with Brighton today, 1-1. And I said, we can definitely, get that top 4. I know around 4 or 5 weeks ago, I actually fully disregarded it because it was looking very unlikely we was going to get it. So I was actually very, very sceptical about it. But we can get top 4 this season. And, we need top 4, so obviously, we can get Champions League football secured. Don't forget, we can get Champions League football by winning the Europa League, so that's another route to Champions League football. And we can get some silverware on the border this season. I think, it's imminent. It's more imminent that we'll win the Carabao Cup than the Europa League, and that we could actually not end up winning both of them. We beat Man City in the Carabao Cup semi-final. I think we can go on and win the Carabao Cup. But don't forget, Solskjaer is recently, talking about, the importance of Man United lifting trophies in that because we have that silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. We've only won 3 trophies since the Ferguson era. We didn't win out under the Moyes era. We won the FA Cup under the Louis van Gaal era. And we won the Europa League and League Cup in Jose Mourinho's first season at Old Trafford and that. But like I said, I'm hopeful that we can make some signings this month. Our board are determined to back Solskjaer. They are willing to give him at least a couple more windows to see who else we can recommend in to the football club. Hopefully, we can, in this January transfer window next summer, we can replicate, what we did in the previous summer transfer window, because we did good in it. I think our recruitment's been very poor for several years, but I thought Solskjaer did well, to recommend 3 good players in, because we spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers and that. And you've got to say they've probably been our best players in that. But like I've said recently, a lot of aspects of our game have improved. You know, a lot of aspects of our game have improved. You know, we're creating more chances, we're scoring more goals. Certain players have rejuvenated themselves. You know, I think, you know, the likes of Rashford's doing well. Rashford's in scintillating form for Manchester United. You know, Rashford is now on 16 goals this season. He's on 61 goals in all competitions since he broke into the senior squad. Back in 2016, and Rashford is now nearly on 200 appearances for the football club in all competitions. Anthony Martial, he's been doing really, really well, and you know, he does add more inspiration in that attack of third of the pitch, and Anthony Martial does help the likes of, you know, Marcus Rashford and Daniel James and that, so he's very, very beneficial. He's on 10 goals this season, so Rashford and Martial this season, you know, between them have scored around 26 goals and that. Martial is on, I think, around 58 goals in all competitions in nearly 200 appearances since his arrival from Monaco back in 2015. And Martial is only the age of 24. As you all know, Martial does operate in that number 9, so he does play centrally. I know, obviously, analysing the vast majority of his Man United career prior to this season, he's operated out wide, because that's actually, you know, his predominant position, but he looks better in that number 9 role. So he's been very, very good, you know. Like I said, I think Lingard's recently rejuvenated himself. I know he had quite a few injuries, you know, earlier on in the season, just basically like Anthony Martial did. We've actually, you know, had a lot of injuries this season, you know, so reflecting on that, you know, Solskjaer has had to make a lot of alterations in the squad. You know, I think, you know, Fred and McTominay, you know, have blended in very well together in our midfield. You know, these question marks, you know, can they keep the consistency up, you know, Fred and Scott McTominay? And if they can, then maybe, you know, they can emulate into two Galactico midfielders and that. But, you know, they have done really, really well, Fred McTominay. You know, I think Maguire's done well at the back. You know, he's addressed our defensive deficiencies. And I think Lindelof, you know, complements him in our back line. You know, I think, you know, they play very, very well together. Lindelof's had a few bad games this season, but I think, you know, prior to that, I think, you know, he's done really, really well as a Manchester United player and that. I've also got to say, I've been very, very impressed with the youngsters and that. You know, I think a lot of the youngsters have done really, really well, and that's what Solskjaer's mainly done, you know, since he got recommended into Manchester United. You know, give the youngsters their opportunities, and he confirmed at the start of this season that the youngsters would get their opportunities and that. You know, Mason Greenwood's been fantastic. He's on 8 goals this season, Mason Greenwood, in 22 first team appearances. You know, don't forget Solskjaer was asked recently, this was during his press conference, about, you know, replacing Romelu Lukaku, because we didn't replace Romelu Lukaku during the course of the summer. And he did, I think he just says Mason Greenwood has fulfilled a big void, and, you know, since he's obviously come on the horizon, he hasn't really had any element of concerns regarding our attacking options. But from my own perception, I still think, you know, we need to add more experience in that attacking line. But Greenwood's been fantastic. You know, as I think he develops more, he will emulate into Rashford's level. I think he'll also emulate into Martial's level. I think as he develops, like I said, I think he'll end up, you know, overtaking them. But for me, Mason Greenwood needs to start more regularly. You know, in the Premier League, I think he's only made a couple of starts so far this season in the Premier League. So we've got to give him more of a chance. Got to say, I think Brandon Williams has also, you know, done really, really well. Obviously, you know, we view Brandon Williams as our first choice left back. You know, I think he's a much better solution than Young. He's a better solution than Luke Shaw in that. You know, but he's done well as Brandon Williams. You know, Tuanzebe, I think he's also done well. He's another option. You know, he's a backup option in that central defensive area, because he's a central defender, but he can also play as a fullback and a wing back, I think, so his versatility is good. I think James Garner will also do well. Andres Pereira, I think a lot of Manchester United fans feels as though that, you know, he isn't good enough, you know, for Manchester United. Maybe he's had the odd good couple of games. I think, you know, we've actually, you know, overpaid Andres Pereira and that. But yeah, so there's a lot of young players in the squad, you know, that, like I said, that are developing, trying to improve. I do think Solskjaer does rely on the kids too much. if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Like I said, I still don't think Solskjaer is the long-term solution for Manchester United, as I do keep saying. But obviously, the club are determined to keep him in that, and you know, and I want him, I want his managerial tenure, to succeed in that. But I'm still very sceptical about it. Even though we've done well recently, and that we've had some good results, we've also done well against elite opposition this season. We just need to replicate it more against lower opposition. That's what we have done in our last couple of games. Obviously. We play Arsenal tonight, 8 o'clock at the Emirates. You've already seen my preview for that game, and I'm very, very confident, going into the game and that, because we've only lost one of our last 9 games. I know we've actually, drawn quite a lot this season. I think we've drawn around 7 and we've lost 5. So we're in better form than Arsenal, because obviously, Arsenal have only won one Premier League game in their, I think one Premier League game in their last 12, is it? So that just indicates how bad Arsenal are doing. But we're going into this game, like I said, with back-to-back Premier League wins. As I said, when we have bad defeats, Solskjaer came out and said, we do react well. And we did react well to the 2-0 defeat against Watford, because like I said, we beat Newcastle 4-1, put a good performance out. Beaten Burnley 2-0, put on a very good performance out. So hopefully can replicate that against Arsenal. We win this game tonight, we are 10 points in front of Arsenal. We're 10 points in front of Arsenal, and it would be only our 4th away win in the Premier League, this season. So definitely that's something that's got to improve our away form. That's got to improve, and that. Arsenal are sitting 12th in the Premier League, and they're so inconsistent in that Arsenal. Don't forget, they have had a lot of injuries with Arsenal, to be fair. Callum Chambers is the most recent one to be injured. They got Rob Holding out, Hector Bellerin, Socrates out with a concussion, Klasnach, Gabriel Martinelli, Daniel Ceballos and that. So Ozil's just recently come back from injury. So Arsenal have had quite a lot of injuries in that, and Mikel Arteta has enjoyed a really difficult start to his managerial tenure with Arsenal. Obviously, hasn't won yet, but he's only managed 2 games. This is the 3rd game he's going to be managing tonight. So from an Arsenal perspective, it is very, very important that they do win in that. But they drew their first game against Bournemouth 1-1. Then obviously, they lost at home to Chelsea by 2-1. And you got to say, Arsenal were really, really unlucky in that game. Because, they dominated large periods of the game, they created chances, they were good on and off the ball, and I think Chelsea rode their luck a bit in that, but, Arsenal were really, really unlucky, so. But like I said, I'm really, really looking forward to the game and that, and obviously, Mikel Arteta isn't the right man for Arsenal, like I've said on my recent videos, I said it on my video yesterday that I think, him and Solskjaer are totally a comparison. I think Solskjaer is actually, a better manager than Arteta, even though Solskjaer, hasn't really got a pedigree behind him in terms of management and that. But obviously he managed 2 previous clubs before he got recommended into Man United, did Solskjaer, and that. As with Arteta, Arsenal's the first ever club he's managing, because he hasn't managed before. I know he worked alongside Pep Guardiola at Man City, as a coaching assistant for around 3 years. So maybe he's got some tips off Pep Guardiola. But I just don't think he's the right man for Arsenal, despite the fact, that he knows the traditions of Arsenal, because he was a really, really good player for them. And I've more or less got the same perception on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'd say keep him now, but I don't think he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. But Arsenal will be determined to back Mikel Arteta. They'll be willing to give him, I think, at least a couple more windows to see who he can get in, because obviously, none of this squad is Arteta's and that, so he's going to want to make investment in the squad. he's going to want to address the deficiencies in the squad. I think Arsenal will also orchestrate on, getting rid of more players. So yeah, this is what they will currently do in that. But I think a few Arsenal fans, would have been disappointed, with the appointment of Mikel Arteta and that. A lot of Arsenal fans' preference, would have been probably Nuno Santo, maybe, Brendan Rodgers, someone who's got great managerial credentials, and, Mikel Arteta hasn't got that. They did one right thing, and that was getting rid of Unai Emery, because I thought the expectations were too high for Unai Emery at Arsenal. He enjoyed 18 months with Arsenal, did Unai Emery. Obviously came out with the reasons why they did end his managerial tenure at Arsenal Football Club, because the performances and the results weren't at the level as required, and they went on like a 7-game winless run, did Arsenal, so take that into account. And obviously, they did get Ljungberg in, they got Ljungberg in on a temporary basis and that, But like I said, Ljungberg's actually, still part of the backroom staff. But, he was never going to be good enough to manage Arsenal. And that. He was a great player for them, but I think if he'd obviously, managed them, and obviously if Arsenal decided to give him it on a permanent basis, it would have obviously, ruined his legacy. But yeah, so, yeah, and, like I said on my video not too long ago, Man United and Arsenal is not the fixture as it was, back in the... As it was back in the old generation, when we had Alex Ferguson, and when they had Arsene Wenger. Wenger enjoyed 22 years with Arsenal, Ferguson enjoyed 26, 27 years with Man United. They are the two longest serving managers in English football, take that into account. And I think, quite a lot of blame stems from Wenger as well, why Arsenal are the way they are as well, because I think, they let him go too late. They should have let him go at an earlier point, and I think Arsenal did leave a lot of deadwood behind, so you can also take that into account. I don't like... I think a lot of Arsenal fans don't like the way their football club's been run for several years, just like I don't like the way my football club's been run for the last 6 or 7 years, and in that aspect, the blame stems from Ed Woodward. I think, a lot of Arsenal fans, weren't on demanding a change of management, no, they was demanding, I think they're bored out. Kroenke is obviously a liability for them, Stan Kroenke, Raul Chanelli, But, I think it's going to be a very, very good game. Don't forget, Arsenal beat us in this fixture last season in the Premier League, 2-0, and that was actually our first defeat under the Solskjaer era in the Premier League. But we did beat them in the Cup 3-1 last season. It was 1-1 earlier on this season at Old Trafford. But we win this game, like I said. Obviously, we go 2 points behind Chelsea. And we got 10 points in front of Arsenal. But I don't see either way Arsenal getting the top 4 this season. But these are quite a few teams going for it. But like Solskjaer said, he expects a better year this year. He still feels as though that Man United are not on that level yet, and it's going to take us time, to get us to that level where we want to be. We've got, we're not on City's level yet, we're not on Liverpool's level yet. And we're not going to win the league for around, 2 to 3 years at least, So we're way off from, in my own perception, from being Tyler contenders. And Solskjaer said, he still does expect ups and downs. Definitely still expects ups and downs, but obviously, obviously wants to see more ups than currently downs and that. So hopefully we can enjoy a better year this year. Hopefully, Man United can do that. I still think we need to see variety of changes at the football club. I think, we need to get rid of our board, because our board have been a liability for several years. I think we also need to get rid of Ed Woodward. I think we also need to get rid of more players. We need to get rid of the Glazers. So yeah, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. And I'm hopeful that we can get a new director of footballing, because I was disappointed that we didn't get a director of footballing during the summer. Because I did say, didn't I, that I think that's one of the structural changes that we need to see at the football club and that, And I think, Solskjaer said a while back that he's happy with the club's current structure, but Ed Woodward has actually, got a different perception on it. He actually, wants to recruit a director of footballing to the football club. But if we were to get one in, we need someone who knows the club inside out, someone who would be reliable and that to oversee our transfer business. Definitely in that. But if we got rid of Solskjaer, it wouldn't solve any problems at the football club, because not all of the blame stems from the manager. In some aspects, the blame stems from the manager, and Solskjaer has been accountable for some of our bad performances and results this season. Making the wrong team selection, being tactically naive in that. I think there's obviously, been some games where we have showed a lot of tactical flexibility, but there's games where he has actually got it spot on. And we can't persistently keep sacking managers, because 3 managers have already been sacked since the Ferguson era, even though we're not really known for sacking a football club. Moyes obviously went after 10 months. He enjoyed the shortest tenure with the football club. That was a mistake from Alex Ferguson at that time, recommending David Moyes in. He's just recently been appointed as West Ham's new manager. He's obviously reuniting West Ham because he was there before. Then Van Gaal got sacked after, was it a year, despite the fact he won the FA Cup. And Mourinho endured 2.5 years at Manchester United. I already give you a variety of reasons why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era. I think what we should have done is we should have appointed Jose Mourinho in at an earlier point. Then maybe it would have been a different story with Manchester United. But like I said, Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager. Maybe if he is given the time, that he is demanding at the football club, maybe we can get glimpses of the Alex Ferguson, days. And we got a lot of glimpses of the Alex Ferguson days, in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. And I'm hopeful that this team this day and age can try or can replicate what the team did under Alex Ferguson. But I can't see Solskjaer invoking Ferguson's legacy at Manchester United. But I think in that aspect, regardless of who our manager is, I just don't think we'll ever be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson. But, a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United. I think we've spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players since Ferguson's retirement in 2013 and that. I think we spent around 60-odd million under Moyes, over 200-odd million under Louis van Gaal, around 400 million under Jose Mourinho, or was it just under £400 million? Actually, the vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho, so taking into account Solskjaer is inheriting the vast majority of them. So take that into account and that, and we've also got players on big contracts at the football club, don't forget. Yeah. I think Paul Pogba will be playing tonight against Arsenal. That's very, very good news. This will be his first start in 3 months for Man United and that, because obviously, he was previously out with an ankle injury not too long ago. Then obviously, he had an illness. He did come on as a substitute against Watford and Newcastle. I thought he made an absolutely fantastic impact. Wasn't even part of the squad against Burnley, was Paul Pogba. Wasn't even part of the squad, surprisingly, because I actually thought he would have started that game. But we know the difference that Pogba does make in that midfield. Solskjaer has said that he will not be sold in January, so I can't see him leaving in this January transfer window. I think he'll probably leave next summer. But even if he doesn't leave next summer, I still believe at some point in his future he will leave Manchester United in that, because he'll want to rejuvenate himself and probably take his career to the next level. But if he leaves, I think he'll go to Real Madrid definitely, because I still believe Real Madrid is his preference. For the entirety of the summer transfer window, he was linked with a move to Real Madrid. Also, there was talks about him possibly making a return back to Turin. Don't forget, there was speculation before about him going to Barcelona and Paul Pogba's 26 years of age. He's still in his prime. He's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. And he's like 2 players in one when he's in scintillating form. He's Pogba, that's what what he's like. But That's what he's like and that. But, you know, I think he'll leave Man United at some point. But it's good to see him anywhere back in action. I'm very, very delighted about that. McTominay, he's out for 8 weeks. So we know, well, he said he could be sorry out for 8 weeks. Solskjaer initially said at the first that he's out for 3 to 4 weeks. Now, maybe the injury is more severe than what we first, initially thought. So maybe now he could be out for up to 8 weeks, McTominay. And that is a disappointment because McTominay has been revelation this season for Man United, and he will be a big miss in that midfield, but he's going to miss big games. So I think the midfield will go with tonight is probably, Pogba and Fred in that midfield. He'll start Bissaka at right back. I think he'll start Luke Shaw at left back because he did rest quite a few key players in the 2-0 win against Burnley, but that was the sensible thing to do. He'll go with a 4-2-3-1 tonight. He's been going with that formation on a regular basis this season. Maybe try a few different formations, maybe revert back to 3 at the back or try with a 4-3-3. In some aspects, the 4-2-3-1's worked. In a lot of the games, it hasn't seemed to work in that, but yeah, he'll make some changes. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you with today. Like I said again, I wish you all a happier new year. I was out all night yesterday, by the way. This is why I'm a bit late on my video today. Bit drunk, bit of a sore head. I will be on my match reaction tomorrow for the Arsenal game, by the way. It will be tomorrow. I won't have any time to do it tonight. So, yeah. So, anyway, guys, like I said, drop your comments, likes below. And take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.